Hey guys, and welcome to this video. Now, I've been reviewing my Chaos Tzeentch Demon army of late, and as part of my series where I'm looking at an in-depth series and looking at all the different models and stats and so on, one model was eluding my collection that I noticed, and that's the Blue Scribes. Now, if you go onto the Games Workshop or any other store that's selling that particular model, you'll notice that it's Finecast, and it costs £25, which is exceptionally excessive, and we all know the dangers of purchasing Finecast. And a lot of third-party vendors and so on are not supplying it, so it's almost like it's, I think, direct from Games Workshop only. So that means you're going to be paying full retail for an 86-point model, and I didn't want to do that. Now, I'm not the biggest converter in the world these days, I admit, but I thought there's got to be a smarter way of doing this, and there is. And I did a little bit of Google searching. It has been done before. This isn't groundbreaking, so you may have seen this before, but this is my take on it. So for £25, you can buy this particular box set. Which means for that box set, it's £25 from Games Workshop, which means you can get it for around about £19 from a third-party retailer, your friendly local gaming store, whatever, somewhere other than Games Workshop, so you can get it for a little bit cheaper if that's your preference. Or you can support your local store, up to you. That's your preference. But you can then get a whole heap of different models for that money. For 25 quid, you could actually convert this kit, this one box, into several different models. And that is the Blue Scribes. You can make a Blue Scribes out of it, an Exalted Flamer, an extra Blue Horror, and a Herald of Tzeentch on foot. Now, that's pretty good. On top of that, just as a Brucey bonus, you can also make 2 Screamers. So, okay, they're not all going to be a fully legal army. It's not going to be a minimum size unit, for example. Like the Screamers, you require 3. For the Blue Horrors, you require 10. But you are getting those models in effect for zip, for nada, for free. And they also fulfill various different parts of your force organisation chart. You are actually going to get 2 HQs, which is your Blue Scribes and your Herald. That's 2 HQs. They are full units on their own, thank you very much. You're also going to get that Blue Horror, which you can add to your unit of Brimstone Horrors. If you see my in-depth on the Horrors section, you'll know that adding a single Blue Horror to Brimstone Horrors is pretty cool. So you get a little free one of those. An Exalted Flamer, which is really, really good, and there'll be a video coming up in-depth on that very, very soon. So that's some more points for you. And then on top of that, yep, as I said, the Blue Scribes conversion. Now this does take a little bit of effort, and in this video that's just about to play after this, I'll talk you through exactly how I made my version of it. So, hope you enjoy the video. Good value kit. Is it the best value kit? That's the question. For 25 quid, I think it's stonkingly good value. Just use a little bit of imagination and you can make some cool units out of it. So, on with the video. So here we go then. This is the box set that you want. So the Herald of Tzeentch on Burning Chariot. Now this gives you an option to make either the Tzeentch Herald on Chariot or an Exalted Flamer, and then you can either put either or on the Chariot and the other two stand still. So in front of you now, playing around, I've built the other bits of the models. So I've put together the Blue Horrors, I've put together the Exalted Flamer and the Herald. And what you end up with is a whole bunch of leftover pieces for which we're going to be making our Blue Scribes conversion. So what you've got are 2 different effective parts that go underneath a disc. So those are sort of wavy looking lines or flamey type bits under the base. Now removing the tails that are integrated to the Screamers is pretty difficult on the flame ones. So what I'm using is the non-flamey part. The sort of ethereal effect kinds of I don't know, magic-y looking things. I don't know how to describe that any better than that. So all you do is just remove and cut out the bits of tail that are integrated that form the Screamers that integrate into the chariot. So they're sort of pulling the chariot. So remove those out, give those a little clean, and then just assemble those 3 components, and that forms the base of the model. Now don't worry, I am putting this on a little bit fast forward for you. I think this is operating at about 3 times normal speed, so you won't have to watch me cleaning up all these little parts, but I want to make sure that you see exactly how I achieved this particular conversion. So that's the 3 bits of the wavy, ethereal looking parts on the base. The next bit is the disc itself. Now you get 2 top middle sections of the disc. The first one is for the Herald and the second one is for the Exalted Flamer. The Herald one's got some good detail, but it's got integrated feet sections. Now you could cut those away, but I thought, you know what, I'm going to cover it in books in a minute anyway, so I'll go with the plain looking one that comes with the part for the Exalted Flamer on disc. So all you do is just simply stick that in the middle, and that forms the base for your Blue Scribes floaty disc thing. As you can see, that simply fits on the little nodule on the little wavy bits. So now all we want is all the little book pieces that form part of the Herald on disc, and they normally fit underneath like this. So they've got these little hooky bits, they fit underneath the flying disc, but we're not going to want that. What we're now looking for, out of the 3 blue horrors that come with the kit, we want the 2 that are going to look the most scribe-like and can hold onto a book or a quill or a pen. That's what the original official model will actually look like, so we want to make it look something like this. So I found the right blue horror. He's got his sort of arms outstretched, looking like he could potentially hold this book. So that's what we're looking to position on the disc. That's a little bit fiddly, but you know what, we can make this work. So what we want now is to create a pen. So there's a little piece that comes with the Herald that looks like a couple of feathers. So sticking those on the back of his closed fist will look like the sort of the tail quill of an ink pen. Just stick those on the other side of there, and using one of the little pointy pieces that comes on part of the disc decoration, we can actually make the pen end, as it were. So just cutting that off, give that a little straighten, and then just glue that on the bottom of his closed fist, and there we have one quill looking ink pen thing. So there we go, look, there he is, magically holding a fountain pen with some big feathers on the end. Just clean up a couple of the bits of the books, and what we're looking to do is not put that where it officially goes, like I'm showing there, so it hooks underneath. We'll have it sort of grow, because that kind of puts the blue horror in the wrong position. So we'll move that, we'll cut the bottom of that off in a bit, but just trying to work out the best place to position it. Bear in mind you need sort of 2 blue horrors sitting on that disc. If you put him at the front like that, it kind of ruins the effect if you're trying to clone what the official Games Workshop one looks like. The next stage then, get some glue onto the base of the little blue horror. Try and work out if you can just get him over to the side like I'm angling for here. It is obviously on a tilt, so we want to try and build up his raised leg. So I'll have him standing on one of these little books. So I'll just glue a little book onto there, and then we can glue the blue horror on, and he's sort of propped open on that standing book. Now, these guys sort of are trying to learn all the powers and all the spells in the world. That's their special rule. So I just want to try and prop him up so that he glues nice and straight. The next bit then, we're going to get the rest of the books and the scrolls and all the other bits and pieces that come with the spare bits. Cut all the little hooks and so on off, and then apply those liberally all over the base. You can see this book has actually got a big hand attached to it. That's one of the alternative hands that you get for the Herald. He can have an outstretched hand holding this book. But we can cut that off, and you'll lose that detail when you glue it book side up, page side up. And then we can just cut all the other bits off, all the little scrolls, all the other books and so on, give them a little clean up, and we can apply those to the base. And that's exactly what we're doing on the video right now. Just give it a little clean up, and then that gives us a whole bunch of little books, magic spells and so on, that we can adorn all over the base. So once we've got the last of these books and scrolls all cleaned up, we'll just stick them all nicely onto the base. Now this is the book that the blue horror himself is going to be holding, part of the brothers that sit on the base. So I've just cut off the little hook and just trying to work out, making sure that I've got the right height for that. Unfortunately, first time right, that is the right height, so it will fit between his 2 outstretched hands. You can see here I'm just cleaning up the Herald's hand off the back of this little book here, just to give that a little bit of a smoother surface to glue that on. And you can put these on anywhere you like, all over the base, just to give it a bit of decoration, and just to show you that these little boys are, you know, reading and learning all the magical spells of the 41st millennium. Now before finishing up all the other books, we want to put his counterpart onto the base as well. So just picking any of the 2 remaining Blue Horrors, to be honest. I just found one that didn't have some kind of warpy flame sticking out of his feet. So just stick his pal on there. Doesn't really matter what he's doing, he's just there to sort of stand and look like he's casting magical powers while his pal is learning them and writing them down into the book. Just stick all the other bits on the base, and that's pretty much the base, other than sort of the edge decoration, done. Now just because we have got these extra little bits, we might as well put on some of the weird looking spiky bits that go around the base itself, around the disc. So just clean those up, and then we can stick those on as well. We just put one in the 12, 3, 9 and 6 o'clock positions with these larger ones, and there's a couple of smaller ones left over that I hadn't chopped up to make the pen, and we can use those as well, just to give it a little bit of extra dramatic effect. And I put those little small ones towards the front, just to indicate what direction it's travelling in or whatever. It just got spare bits, just glue them on. It just gives it a little bit of extra effect. And once they're all on, it would look something like that. So we've got lots of little spiky bits, we've got the little guys on there. We can just glue this larger book, now that the Blue Horror himself has dried. We can just glue the big main book that he's holding, put a little bit of glue on the base into his hands, and then just wiggle this in between his grip, just to make it look like he is holding the book. It's a little bit tricky, but it does eventually fit. There we go, spot on, just exactly what I kind of guessed would happen. Pretty good, hey? Now I have bought some other copies of this box set. Actually, the box set itself, all the sprues come in the Start Collecting set. So for even better value, you could actually achieve this out of the £50 Start Collecting set, which you can get for cheaper elsewhere, but you know, £50 is £50. That comes with all the other models that are in the Start Collecting. So I do have a number of other books and scrolls and bits and pieces left over from other builds of my other Heralds and the Exalted Flamers. So you don't need to do this, but because I've got those spares kicking around, I thought I might as well add a few extra books and bits just to bulk out that base. You don't, as I said, you don't need to if you're just converting this from the core £25 set. But if you have any of the other models that you've bought from either the Start Collecting, or you've got a second one of these, for example, feel free to add some more books onto the base, just for good measure. So that's all I'm doing here, completely optional part of the conversion. And just because I found another little spare odd looking thing that looks like a bookmark, I thought I'd glue the little bookmark. It's a little eye with a feather on it. Just glue that onto the book there, just makes it look an added bit of detail for when it comes to painting. And there we go. So we've got the little ephemeral base looking things. Not sure whether it's going to go on a 40 or probably a bigger base, maybe a 60mm Dreadnought size base. And there we go, one Blue Scribe conversion, all done. And once we're finished with the entire kit, this is what we'll end up with. So just breaking down the points then, as I said, we've got 2 Screamers at 31 points each. We have the Blue Scribes at 86 points sitting in the middle there. On top of that, we get a Exalted Flamer at 70 points. Now these are fantastic units, highly recommend an Exalted Flamer in your army. Then we have the Herald of Tzeentch himself, which is a great HQ option for your Tzeentch demons. And finally that little spare Blue Horrors. You get 3 in the box and you've got that one left over. So there we go guys, do you think that is the best value kit money can buy these days? I certainly thought it was good. You get in sort of 223 points worth of mixed force organisation. You've got 2 HQs, you've got some fast attack, you've got troops, and you've got a heavy support choice in there. Certainly good enough to bulk out your Tzeentch Demons forces. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I shall catch you on the next one.